Hey, welcome to another typology interview. We have Andrew here. How's it going, Andrew?
Great, thanks.
Yeah, thanks
How
for
things with
coming.
you?
I really appreciate it.
Okay, thanks
Yeah.
for getting it sorted.
Tell us a little bit about your history and typology. Where did it all start?
Okay, well, I think it was sometime in my late 20s. I'm in
Right.
my early 40s now, would you believe it?
Oh, wow.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
you
that
look
old.
it.
Um, but yeah, um, I heard about Myers-Briggs. I think at the time, I was looking at a lot of videos that were about self-development and that kind of thing. And one of these things, they were talking about Myers-Briggs, and I thought that was very interesting. So I looked into it. I think I probably took an online test, and I even bought a book about it. And it was funny because I was watching um, your talk with Thomas,
Right.
and he mentioned this book. I think it's someone
Same
called
book.
Lenora Thompson,
Yeah, yeah.
something like that, personality types. Um, and there's a test in there as well that you can take. And whenever I took these tests, I came out as ISTJ.
Wow.
Yeah, which is funny. But um, I think it's because it's sort of that's kind of the type that society wants you to be.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah, right.
the school system wants all kids to be
Right.
nice, obedient little ISTJs.
Right.
So I
So
was
you're answering
feeling,
the questions in a way that was like, what should I
yes.
be? Yeah.
But
Not what am I?
having said that, as it turns out, I do have those same functions.
Right.
In that sense, there was some accuracy there in
Interesting.
some respects, but um, it was one of these. I guess I was peacocking the answers,
Right.
because as it turns out, instead of being lead SI is something that isn't one of my strengths,
Right.
unfortunately.
Right. So you're lead TE, right?
Lead TE, yes.
Right.
So do you want the full type?
Yeah, well, we'll get into it. I just want to continue
Okay.
on a little bit on your journey. So you got ISTJ and then
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So then I noticed online there were some tests you could take, and I must have taken maybe two or three of those, and every time I got ISTJ.
wow.
Um, and then I'd almost sort of given up on Myers-Briggs because it's sort of the traditional um, what you see online. It's very hit and miss,
Right.
and there are things about it that don't make sense. I mean, if it was accurate, why is it that every site that has a list of celebrity examples, uh, the
Has a different set of
celebrities are
opinion.
different every
Yeah.
time? Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah, yeah.
people argue in forums about what a particular person is.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but the funny thing is, there was still something. It's it was too accurate too often for it to be completely dismissible. As far as
Okay.
I was concerned, I thought there must be something in this.
When was it accurate for you?
Well, I mean, I guess there are those types where, these celebrity examples, some of them, even all the sites seem to agree. And
Oh,
I
okay.
guess, stuff like that. Uh,
Right.
Um, so there seems to be, sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And then I suppose sometime last year, because I was all but ready to give up and just think this doesn't work. It's
Right.
not accurate. And but then I suppose I stumbled across Dave's channel,
Hmm.
the Dave Superpowers channel on YouTube, and um, then I thought, well, this is interesting. And then because this is exactly the kind of approach that you would expect, something objective. So I looked at his site, and that just well blew me away really because it was so much like this is exactly what personality typology ought to be, and
Right.
hasn't until now. Um, so, and I think this must have been in about May last year, and basically I signed up for the class,
Nice.
um, and haven't looked back since.
Nice. So you agree with your type then, what you've been typed as?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
Okay, nice. That's good. That's a good sign. That means that it's probably right. Yeah.
Well, I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the more every time I look at it and think about it, because sometimes I think, could it be wrong? Just
Right.
just for accuracy's sake.
There
And
there are a large group of people who have been typed and they agree with their type, and that's a good sign. Like it's a large portion of the people. But then most of the problems I find so far is just always with the animals, and I think maybe there's just a bit more that they need to unlock with the animals that they haven't yet. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Yeah,
possibly,
yeah.
um,
But it
but
like it's good that it works for a lot of people. So there's something there. Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, so you got into OPS. You got your type. Did you know what type you were when you first typed yourself, or you got it wrong?
Um, Sorry, you mean
Like
so?
you have to submit the type that you think you are, right?
Well, this is what happened, I suppose. After the ISTJ thing, I kind of realised, reading the descriptions, the type descriptions, and everything, that I'm not a judger. I'm not a judger in the traditional Myers-Briggs sense.
Okay.
So, and the descriptions, none of them really fit.
Mm,
Um, and I mean, in a way, I'm kind of, when you read some of the descriptions, I kind of want, the thing that I think probably suits me the most is INTP. So I was thinking, maybe I'm maybe I'm that type, maybe I'm an IP,
right.
something like that. So um, that that's kind of going into OP. That's kind of what I had in mind.
Interesting. So, but then that means you sort of got the NE as your second function correct.
Well, that's the funny thing. I guess maybe, in fact,
Yeah.
I probably thought I was your type, because I thought I was an ST. I still had that in my head, but
Okay.
I thought that I was.
Oh,
I thought I
TISI.
was. Yeah,
Uh,
or yeah, yeah, sort of possibly an ISTP,
and
but I
then
wasn't sure. I was kind of, I was a bit confused about it.
right. And then you came out basically TENE.
Yes,
Right.
yeah.
Interesting.
So in a way, it's like, a bit like being an INTP, but having the
TE instead of TI.
extroversion.
Yeah.
Yeah, the extroversion is switched
Right.
on those
Well, I picked
functions.
that up right away because, like, when you were saying about this being accurate, and your assessment of accuracy was everybody agreeing, which is very TE. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's funny. Um, I didn't. I wasn't aware I was doing that when I
Yeah.
said
Yeah.
that. But it's one of those things. Sometimes, um, when I send an email to someone, I might say something like, "I think this could be useful for a lot of people,"
Right.
which is pure TE. And then
Yeah. Yeah.
it's only after I've clicked send that I realise what I've said, and I think, "Oh,
Right.
what a dork."
Right. So is that how you see TE being looking always for what's useful, or how do you judge with TE? How do you assess things?
It's about kind of consensus. It's about taking other people's views into account,
Right.
specifically what their reasons are. So it's a logical thing.
What, and if reasons
It's
differ, that's false for you. And if reasons agree, everybody's reasons are the same, then that's true.
um,
You're trying to find that common thread that
I,
everyone can agree on, everyone can get on
yes,
board with.
yes, that's true.
Okay.
But at the same time, I don't discount the outlying opinions. I like to,
Really?
yeah, I like to take
Mm.
all opinions into account.
Hmm.
But I guess it's like a bell curve in a
Right.
way. The people in the middle, the
I see. You're
opinions in the
looking for that
middle.
you're
I'm
looking for
looking
that
for that sort
center.
of majority. Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Okay. And so then the outlying opinions will help like sort of sway where that line is of truth.
yes, yeah,
Okay.
that's true. Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
Mm.
And so it's a feminine TE or a masculine?
Masculine. Yeah,
Masculine.
yeah,
Yeah, because you come off as not very like not very aggressive, not very yeah.
yeah. Um, that's I can certainly agree with that,
Right.
but I guess, well, the funny thing is though, there was that brilliant um, 8-person round table discussion on the
Right. The
objectively
masculine TE.
typed.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, yeah. But for me, I would say none of those people on there seemed aggressive or sugary.
Right.
I don't see it when I'm looking at someone else. Really, I tend to see it when someone is being a little bit too indirect. I think sometimes I get a little irritated when I hear someone who's got a feminine extroverted decider,
So like me.
and I feel that well, well, it's not lead for you, so
Right.
you,
Okay.
you're let off the hook.
All
No,
right.
like when someone, sometimes I think just give me the facts and be straight up about it.
Yeah, okay.
Don't go around the houses. Don't
Right.
try and soften the message too much.
Right.
You know?
And do you provide that same sort of respect to other people that just you're not trying to soften the message, you're direct with what you're saying?
Well, I think it's important to get to the point,
Right.
you know, and um, with age and with experience, I think I have, and socialization, I've got better at that.
That's a
Um,
very ESTJ thing too, to get to the point like that. I've noticed from the other two ESTJs that I've interviewed, that's like they're very short and brief. You're a little bit less so for some reason, but you still stress how important it is. That's interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, I guess, yeah. So I think it kind of comes out under stress as well. So it's like my initial thought might be, you know, be punchy
Right.
and just give my answer very full on. But I'm sort of, I might go into my head and slightly think, okay, how do I just soften that a little bit?
Right.
So, but I think when you're under pressure, automatically that
Right.
sort of that's that gets skipped a little bit, and you end up
Yeah, you don't
I
have
end
the
up
time to say
a
it
bit more
nicely. Yeah.
aggressive. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Okay, and so then that makes you lead play. Do you see the lead play? Do you see that like that's something that's where you're spending most of your time in that animal, or
Um, it's a funny one because I think um, just it's easier to talk about it the other way around because how I see it, I I am lead TE, but I'm blast last, I think, and that's
right?
what I have been typed. Um, so uh, that means I've got to be play first, but
Right.
it's kind of it's funny. It's something I probably don't realize I'm doing, even though I'm doing it. I mean, um, I do enjoy talking to people, and
Right.
it's that how the NTs are sometimes described as people who are, bashing blocks together and trying
Yeah.
to puzzle things out. And I certainly much prefer doing that with other people, like, rather than doing it by myself. I'd rather actually be having like a discussion like this, really, where we're
Right. Yeah.
sharing information and discussing concepts.
Hmm. Do you feel like you're creating a lot of information in the outside world for like just making a lot of information appear in some ways, or no?
Uh, mm, No, I'm not sure.
Okay.
Uh, Um, I mean, as it turns out, I am energy dominant rather than information dominant.
Right.
So I'm more of an energy sort of guy.
Right.
But when you say, "Am I creating information?" How does that?
Well,
Uh,
yeah. Okay.
Give an example.
Information and energy are really the same thing. They're just seen from a different perspective. Like this is just from physics, but but creating. See, I see consuming information is like it's just it's unidirectional. It's bringing it in. Sleep I see as processing and boiling down information, so making it more condensed, right? And then blast is taking that condensed information and bringing it out. And then play is basically just creating uncondensed information, just that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I mean, future possibilities is sometimes
Right.
how NE is described,
With
and
your
I
TE,
suppose
like
yeah,
future real world possibilities.
yes. So I suppose I do sort of I run through those in my
Right.
mind, and I remember on the recent NE Zooms
Right.
that the class had, there was mention of like the Rolodex analogy, um, where there's like ideas going around like that
Right.
in people's minds, and I guess I experienced that.
Right. And so you work in a bank, right? So you're using your SI a lot there?
Yes, yeah. The funny thing is, my job is a little bit like typing people because we get these customer letters and we have to categorize them. And it's a bit like, and the computer system is a bit like the OP checklist in a way. And we have
Okay.
to work through it and, put the ticks in the right places, etc. So in that sense, I just thought of that it was a strange
Right.
commonality. Um, yeah, but it's like for me, it's like doing my demon.
Mm, interesting. Do you feel that like you're more present and aware than most people, being the play consume like really in the outside world?
Um, I guess so. It's difficult to,
Well, yeah, the any sort of puts you in the
yeah,
possibilities and stuff, but
yes, it's
possibilities of the
difficult.
moment.
Yeah, one of the things that I think about is context, and I think about how you can't really define anything, say what something is before you, without at the same time saying what it's not,
Right.
and it's difficult. I don't.
You have no
I,
relativity in that.
because
Yeah.
I've got nothing to compare myself to.
Right.
So I don't really know exactly what's going on in other people's heads.
Right.
As much as I'd like to. Um,
Do you feel like
but
you're more
so
objective than other people? Like you're seeing things more objectively,
um,
even though the context isn't there?
yeah, again, it's difficult to say
Right.
without. Yeah, I can't because
You
I
can't
don't
relate it.
know. Yeah, I can't relate it to what other people are going through.
Mm.
But uh, I guess so. I mean, I value objectivity a
Right.
great deal.
Are you? Do you see those self-tribe issues a lot?
Definitely, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Um,
do you have an example that you can share, or maybe something general that you can talk about that doesn't have to go into too many specifics? Or
um, let's think.
specifics are good too if you want to.
Well, no. I mean, I've got. I think it's fair enough. Fair enough to say my self-esteem could be improved,
Right.
um, and that's an example where it's having that fi on the bottom.
Mm-hmm. A feminine
Um,
one. Yeah.
that's yes, yeah. So and what else? Like I don't know if this is me going off on a tangent, but I've got that issue that EJs have of kind of not being focused on a particular goal in the sense of, or rather, reword that, because that's more like an EP thing, but
Right.
um, not being self-directed in the way that I'm not going after things that I want to do necessarily. I'm thinking of
Okay.
what would the tribe rather me do.
Right.
So I'm not kind of driven from my own values, if that
Are
makes
you
sense.
in touch with your likes and your values at all in any way?
Um, well, my FI is double activated, and
Yeah.
my consume is NEFI. Um,
So you like
but
consuming?
yes, yeah,
Okay. That's good.
um, that's something I do a lot of.
And then do you see the sleep coming in afterwards? Like do you see that as a hobby as well?
Yes, yeah, definitely, yeah.
So yeah, how's that your hobby then?
Well, there are times, just I guess when I have a few minutes to spare, even though let's say I'm waiting for a train, I've
Right.
got my I've got my tablet or I've got a book with me, and I could take that out and read it on the platform while I'm waiting for the train to arrive.
Right.
Sometimes I'll just sort of what's the word? Because
Reflect.
for me, um, the word for my type of sleep would be ruminate. It's like ruminating on the past.
Yeah.
That's how I see it anyway. Like
Yeah.
going over previous experiences and thinking, reliving them, thinking how that affects my emotions.
Yeah.
And so I will take moments out like that. Um,
Are you able
if
to also
I'm
plan for
really,
the future when you do that? Like plan about what you want, see what you want to try and get for yourself or
I was just thinking about this earlier today,
right.
and I was thinking um, it would be useful if I did that. Um,
It would be
it,
TE
it's
useful if I could FI.
yeah, it's
Okay.
more like I'm thinking of the past. I'm thinking about what I didn't like about it, or what I did like about it. But it's
Right.
not really. I have to question myself. Am I actually um, making use of that sort of processing
Right.
and doing anything and using it in a more forward directed way?
Right. Well,
Um,
if a moment ever comes up where you need to use it, it's already processed. That's kind of the benefits of it. Yeah.
yes,
Right.
yes, I suppose so.
Does that happen where you've processed something and you're able to make decisions really quick because you know what happened last time?
Uh, quick decisions.
You
That
learn from your
sounds
mistake and
like
stuff?
um, kind of yes, but one of one of the one of the problems I think with being blast last is well, yeah, decision making definitely, and um, oh, lost my train of thought.
Just
Um,
quick decisions in the moment and stuff you were talking about.
yeah, I would say I always want to sort of consume more information and put off making a decision.
Right. Your consume is double activated.
Yes. Well, um, yeah. Uh, any FI is double activated. Yes, so that would be my
Yeah.
consume. So yeah, yeah. Um, so it's yeah. So I was talking about blast, wasn't I? Yeah. So what I often find is that I regret not starting stuff sooner. That's a big sign for
Oh,
that I've got blast last.
right.
And in fact, that applies actually to the OP class. Because when I think about it now, I wish uh, if I'd known how good it was and if I'd seen the YouTube videos a few months before, I would have signed up for it on day one. and
Okay.
I'd have sent off a typing video as soon as I could as well, and just little things like that.
Like it took you time
But,
to decide to join the class, or
well, yeah, I mean, I didn't find out about it until a few months after it went live, and then I did take maybe a week or two to decide to
right?
actually sign up for the class. Um, but
That's
it's
okay though. You still did it, and
yeah, yeah,
not much harm in 2 weeks to make decisions. That's actually quite healthy to take your time before making a good decision. Yeah, yeah. I
I
don't see
suppose.
any. Yeah, it depends if like there's something that's fleeting, something that's going to disappear if you don't make a decision quick. But like this is something that wasn't going to disappear.
Yeah,
I think that's yeah. I think
yeah.
that's good. It's a good trait to do that. I wouldn't hit yourself too hard on that. That's fine. Yeah. Do you see though that there that you have issues with the tribe, that you worry about what they think about you and things like that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Mhm. Yeah. And in fact, that's well, I'm managing okay doing this, but um, it is nerve wracking a little bit doing one of these interviews, knowing that other people are
Right.
likely to watch it, and I have to sort of
And have judgment thoughts about you and things like that. I'm not going to
exactly
make you more nervous
yes.
by rubbing that
Well,
in. Yeah.
um, I think one way of getting over that is just concentrate on the moment and the fact that we're having a conversation
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
and not get too hung up about it.
So can I talk about what you wrote in the email about not wanting to do the interview? Is that okay to
Yeah,
share?
sure,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
So you tried to do an interview with Kendrick, and then you weren't able to, and then you wanted to do one with me, and then you wanted to just first meet first. That whole
yeah,
process there was
okay,
just yeah.
yeah. So what happened? Because I'd noticed these interviews were being uploaded onto YouTube.
Right.
So I thought I don't want to be left out of this.
Ah,
So
okay.
I contacted you and I
Yeah,
contacted
yeah.
Kendrick and offered uh, to be interviewed myself. But um, and Kendrick's interview was the first one to be
Right.
scheduled. But it just like on that day, everything just went wrong, and I was uh, coming back to energy. I was sort of just didn't have the right energy for it. I was tired. I was stressed. It was late on. I think it was about 9 o'clock at night, uh, my time, and after we started the interview, and I was just really struggling, and my anxiety level was going up and up, and I gave really poor answers,
Yeah.
in my opinion,
Right.
um, and
That compounded
there
it
was
then.
one,
Yeah.
yeah, and I could barely concentrate actually on what Kendrick was asking me. At one point, I had to ask him to
That's
repeat the question, and it
wow,
was
that's
just going
interesting. That's
just
really
going
interesting
horribly
being
wrong.
lead play with the consume there and not being able to focus on the moment. That's why how did
It's
that happen?
I think it was just anxiety.
Really?
It was really odd. Um, but yeah, so and it got to the point where I almost felt it did feel like and I don't have panic attacks. I don't think
Right.
I've ever had one before, but this felt like one, and it felt like
Right.
because the anxiety just kept going up, and I started to feel almost like I was going dizzy, and I was hyperventilating a bit, and in a cold sweat, and I just I went like this. I said, I can't go on with this.
Wow.
And Kendrick was really nice about it and
Yeah.
very understanding. Um,
Yeah, he's a cool guy.
yeah, yeah, he is. And so, but I guess, I mean, in a way, I was acting a bit like a selfish jerk because I was thinking about how's the tribe going to view me? You're shaking your head.
No, I don't think that's selfish, man. I think, but I get your point that it's a bit selfish, but like it's like you got to take care of yourself for the tribe. Like if you want to be of any use to the tribe, you've got to take care of yourself. You got to spend the time to, yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
So I don't think at all, man. That's perfectly fine. Yeah.
yeah. So then I think I emailed you pretty much straight away and said,
Right.
I need to cancel. I don't think I can do these interviews.
Right.
But then you said, well, we could just talk and not record it. So that's what we did last week.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, it's, that pressure of feeling like you're being recorded, if you're not used to it, it can be quite a shock.
Yeah.
And I guess ever since that moment, what's happened, I've completely changed it's completely changed my perception of interviews. And
Oh,
whenever I've watched anyone, because it's like I I really respect people for doing it, and because
I do
I
too, man.
thought
Yeah.
I,
Thanks.
yeah
Especially you, someone who has all this anxiety.
I
I'm very
yeah
appreciative
well,
for you coming out, man. That's awesome.
because I think what's happened is that I've watched so many that I've taken for granted that the other person might not actually be feeling 100% confident,
Yeah.
and I've just taken for granted that that's who they are uh, as I'm seeing them, and then that applies to all sorts of people. Even when I watch anyone who's in front of a camera, like when I watch a newsreader now, I'm thinking they must be like feeling nervous inside to some extent, and
Right.
they're just hiding it well.
Yeah. Yeah. I think maybe because you are an EJ, it might be a little bit harder for you. Um, and like I don't think a double decider would have much problem with being on camera and stuff. But EJs and IPs, and just a little feedback for me, I was also pretty nervous at the beginning, but like now it's just I've done it so many times that like it's just natural. Like I'm not nervous at all. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
and
It's just with the practice, and like that's one of the huge things that I've been able to get out of these interviews is just not being so self conscious all the time in front of people and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
hopefully, yeah,
So
whatever you came to conclusion with, that'll help your mindset in the future. That would be really cool.
mm,
Yeah. Do you have any last message that you want to give about your type, or anything that we missed or jumped over that you think we should talk about? We didn't really say what your first modality was, your sensory was, male or female?
oh, it's feminine. Yeah.
Feminine. Okay.
So
FM.
I'm FM visual.
Right.
Yes.
Cool. So do you have anything else that you want to say about your type a little bit, or any message?
Uh, well, uh, I just wish that I'd got my own my own YouTube channel up and running. I do
Yeah.
have it in the works. It's
Nice.
planned.
Right. Okay.
Because I want to get into this making videos.
Yeah, it'll
Uh,
be good for you for sure.
yeah, it'll be good for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then other people, um, if anyone watches them and gets anything out of it themselves,
Right. Yeah.
um,
It's great
that would be
practice for your
good too.
blast too.
Yeah,
Yeah, really
yeah,
great practice for your
yeah.
blast. And you'll watch it and get all sensitive and be like, look at all these mistakes I'm making, and it'll just make you better. Yeah, for it. Yeah. Cool, man. Good. Well, good luck with that. Thank you again. I
Okay,
really
thank
appreciate
you.
you coming out. Have a good one,
Cheers.
man.
Well, thank you. Thanks.
Bye.